Da Brat, born Shantae Harris in Chicago, Illinois, was raised primarily on the west side of the city. She went back and forth between two different households since her parents never married. She's also the paternal half-sister of actress Lisa Ray McCoy. Her main introduction to music happened in the Apostolic Pentecostal church she attended several times a week while growing up. She sang in the choir and played the piano and drums. She began rapping at the age of 11 and also learned to play several different instruments at school. Fun fact, Brat has a Michael Jackson tattoo on her right calf. She explained the choice to curious fans on Twitter, saying that she loved him and he'd been an inspiration to her since she was a kid. Brat's big break came in 1992 when she won the grand prize in an amateur rap contest held in Chicago and sponsored by the TV music video program Yo MTV Raps. So, what did she win? The chance to meet the teenage rap duo Kris Kross. But things didn't end there. They told her they were going to tell their producer about her. That producer was none other than Jermaine Dupri. Eventually, Brat and Jermaine would meet at a taping of the Oprah Winfrey Show, no less, and he would invite her to come to Atlanta. Soon after, he signed her to his So So Def label. Brat's debut album, Functified, released in June 1994, went platinum, making her, at the age of 20, the first female solo rapper to achieve the feat. The album's lead single of the same name reached number 1 on the rap singles chart and became a top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. Two more singles, For All Y'all and Give It To You, also made it into the top 40. 2 years later, she released her second full-length album, titled Another Tantrum. Both of the singles, Sittin' on Top of the World and Ghetto Love featuring T-Boz of TLC, also reached the top 40. Throughout the rest of the 90s, Brat made feature appearances on so many other rappers and R&B singers' albums that her own solo work naturally took a back seat. She was featured on tracks by Kris Kross, Dru Hill, Brandy, Destiny's Child, Missy Elliott, and Mariah Carey, just to name a few. Over the years, she would actually build a very close relationship with Mariah, beginning when they met during the recording of the remix to her 1996 hit, Always Be My Baby. In early 2000, Brat's third album, titled Unrestricted, was released. It produced the moderately successful singles, What You Like, featuring Tyrese, and That's What I'm Looking For. The album wasn't as well received as her earlier work, but the new project and the new millennium did inspire an image makeover for her. She upped her sex appeal by switching up her hairstyles as well as wearing more form-fitting and sexier clothing. Then, in 2001, Brat pleaded guilty to misdemeanor reckless conduct after she'd battered a woman with a gun during a dispute over VIP seating in a Buckhead, Georgia nightclub the year before. The victim in that incident received 6 stitches for a head wound. Brat ended up serving a year's probation, performed 80 hours of community service, and paid a $1,000 fine. She got back to work and 2 years later released her fourth album titled Limelight, Love, and Nightclubs. Unfortunately, Brat's propensity for violence was put on full display again in 2007, and this time, the results would change her life forever. On October 31st, she was involved in an altercation that ended in an assault at a Halloween party held at Jermaine Dupri's Studio 72 nightclub in the Atlanta area. She initially argued with one of the club's waitresses, ex-NFL cheerleader Shayla Stevens. When the waitress walked away to talk to her manager, Brat attacked her from behind, striking her in the face with a rum bottle. The victim was rushed to an area hospital, and police arrested and jailed Brat. Apparently, according to police, this attack wasn't the first time Brat and the waitress were involved in a physical altercation. The incident left the victim's face permanently scarred. In court, Brat pleaded guilty to aggravated assault charges. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison, 7 years probation, and 200 hours of community service. In May 2010, Brat got the opportunity to experience some short-term freedom when she was temporarily released from prison as part of a work release program. However, it wasn't until February 2011 that her release was made official. A civil trial stemming from the 2007 altercation began 3 years later. Ultimately, a jury awarded the assault victim $6.4 million to cover her injuries as well as past and/or future loss of earnings. Following her release from prison, Brat launched a web series about life after the experience titled Brat Chronicles in Transition on her YouTube channel. She also got right back into the studio and released a mixtape called Life After Death. In addition to music, Bratz flexed her acting skills over the years in many productions, including 1996's fantasy comedy film Kazam, starring Shaquille O'Neal, 2001's Glitter with BFF Mariah Carey, and Fox's Empire. Today, Brat can be heard each morning on the radio co-hosting the Ricky Smiley Morning Show in Atlanta, a gig she began in 2015. On top of that, every weekday afternoon, she's in front of the cameras as a co-host of Fox's tabloid TV news program, Dish Nation. In 2017, Brat joined the cast of the reality TV series Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta, and she also holds executive producer credits. On the music front, the aptly titled The Return dropped in 2018. It's her first full-length album in 15 years. On March 25, 2020, hair product mogul Jessica Judy Dupart posted a photo on her Instagram of herself and Brat with Brat's arms wrapped tightly around her waist. The caption simply read, "Yup." The comment section was soon flooded with congratulations for the couple. Yes, couple. The photo confirmed what many have long suspected about Brat and her sexuality. Their love story began in 2019 when Brat stopped by Judy's Atlanta shop. Brat suggested that they hang out at a later date and gave Judy her phone number. Judy didn't waste any time bluntly telling Brat she was romantically interested in her, and things just naturally evolved from there. Judy also posted on the same day a video clip of Brat's emotional reaction to the birthday gift Judy gave her. A similar video was posted to Brat's IG showing shots of a white Bentley with a big red bow on top, and Brat filming the interior of the vehicle from the driver's seat as tears streamed down her face. In an interview with Variety that month, Brat discussed coming out as a lesbian and why it took her 25 years to do so. "I've always felt like being private is the better way to go, because then you don't have so many people in your business. I was fine staying quiet, but my partner is a social media mogul. That's how she became who she is. And when you get with somebody, you have to meet in the middle. So, to me, the middle was just letting everybody know, hey, she's the one." She insists that the announcement wasn't planned and that she didn't even think to give her longtime manager a heads up. Brat does clarify that it was her choice to stay in the closet and not the result of pressure from label execs or managers. "I was always told if you want to be effable to men and women to sell records, you don't want anybody to discriminate. It was absolutely my decision. I mean, you saw what happened to people like Ellen. Remember when she lost her TV show and all these horrible things were happening? People were totally against it." She also spoke about her family and how she would never want anyone in their church to judge them based on anything she does with her life. As far as their reaction to her news, she says that no one has said anything bad or degrading. But what about the fans? Brat says she was surprised that the overall response was so positive. And, for the record, she says she considered herself bisexual for a long time, since she had boyfriends in high school and then moved to dating both men and women. She, in fact, never had trouble attracting the attention of either sex, as her experience with music manager and cast member on Love & Hip Hop Atlanta, Kirk Frost, proved. Right around the time she was working on her debut album, Brat met Kirk in a nightclub one night. He wrote his name and number on 20 $100 bills, gave them to her, and begged her to give him a call. And she did, the very next day. Later on, Brat also had a relationship with a very famous NBA player by the name of Allen Iverson. She told close friend Candy Burris on her official YouTube channel, "I used to wake up and pick his clothes out and cook breakfast and his off when he woke up in the morning. The things he liked, I just made sure he was happy. And he spoiled me and made sure I was happy." Brat also said that they both met each other's families and things were good between them for a long while. Ultimately, the relationship didn't work out due to Allen just having too much going on, namely too many women and too many baby mama issues. When it comes to the topic of whether or not he knew about her sexuality, Brat says that she thinks he knew, but they never talked about it. Brat and Judy decided to put their love on display when their reality TV show, Brat Loves Judy, premiered on WeTV in August 2021. Then, on February 22, 2022, Brat and Judy married in a romantic ceremony held at the Horse Mansion in Fairburn, Georgia. Groomsman Jermaine Dupri escorted Brat down the aisle, while Judy had her brother do the honors as 100 guests looked on. Lisa Ray also served as a bridesmaid. At the reception, Keith Sweat and Leandria Johnson performed, while guests dined on Southern fried lobster tail with port wine braised short ribs over truffle mac and cheese, grilled asparagus, and broccolini, topping it all off with a butter almond cake for dessert. At the end of the evening, Brat and Judy danced out of the reception and into a blue Bentley. Guests cheered as they drove off, with Judy behind the wheel, into eternal wedded bliss. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss any future videos. See you next time.